Happy Labor Day holiday, friends and rockhounds and YouTubers. And as you can tell by the title of this video, this is going to be probably one of my more favorite in-house videos, this little segment. And hopefully I can get through this time without having to redo it. And everything, but Sequoyah, that's what these are, Sequoyah bird points. The only Stone Age artifact named after an actual Native American. And I don't like how Overstreet has in there that he was just noted as a famous Cherokee chief, because I don't think I've ever read anywhere that he was an actual chief. But what he was highly noted for was he created the Cherokee writing system, putting the Cherokee words on paper. Which he was born in eastern Tennessee, but him and his mother moved to Alabama, where she ran a trading post. And I believe it was that through the trading post, he would, gain silver coins from the traders and trappers, and began silversmithing, making jewelry from them, and got noted highly as a silversmith. But as time went on, he was intrigued by the white man's writing system. So he wanted to learn a way that he could put the Cherokee words onto paper. So that's what he worked on for quite a while. And believe, since he couldn't get any of the elders to want to learn it, any of the adults, he taught it to his daughter, who I believe was very young at that age, like 6 or 7. And then, if I remember correctly, he took his daughter and they went to the Cherokee Nations in Arkansas to try and show them. He had all the leaders each say a word, and he wrote it down. Then he brought in his daughter to say each word. And that impressed all the great Cherokee leaders. So they let him teach it to all the young Cherokee at that time. I just love how them little serrations are left on this one, little stickers. And that went off with a hitch. So I think it was around in 1825 that they actually the Cherokee Nation officially adopted the writing system, and he was given an award for it. And therefore became the first Native American writing language. But he did other great things too, as because of the white man and his governed world, trying to push off the Native Americans into their own little territory. They started becoming divided nations. Well, him and other great Cherokee leaders went to Washington, D.C., and they all came up with a plan of the Oklahoma Territory. But he also, because there were so many divided Cherokee nations, he worked on bringing them all together. Even in his last days, traveled to places such as Mexico and other places to bring other bands of Cherokee that had left back to the Cherokee Nation, where they could all prosper together. And I wish I could remember everything correctly. I have what they call selective memory. And old-timers, we forget a lot of things. Even if we reread them, we still forget them. But I'll never forget where I found this. This was my very first Sequoia bird point. It come from a very first shelter I ever dug in. Which, man, do I miss shelter digging. I miss digging. But Sequoyah did many great things for his people. That's why there's monuments, and I believe he was also the first Cherokee, or first Native American they ever did a statue of, which I think it's in the Statuary Hall there in Washington, D.C. And there's schools named after him, mountaintops in the Carolinas and in Arkansas. But I'll never forget the day I found this one. It was one of them times, way before film, when the big sea got flooded. And there was this little puddle, about 4 foot by 4 foot, circle kinda. And I had seen a bird point right at the edge of it. I stopped, picked it up, and I thought, wonder if there's any in that puddle. And I went putting my hands in there and kind of like sifting through the sand just with my hand, and pulled out 5 bird points out of that puddle. And this was one of them. Hope the lighting's working good in here. But if you want to learn a little bit everything about Sequoyah, you can Google them. Some great information to read, even by wiki. And the Sequoias are always your roundest, bulbous base, and many of them serrated, which are not all serrated, but your majority of them are. As to this one here, we'll show you. You can see it had serrations, but this is the only one I have like this. And if we, in this lighting, get this twist to show up just right. But this was one of them really long ones, probably like this, that they sharpened down, and it got a sharpening bevel to it. And me being part Cherokee, I've always been partial to the Sequoyah bird point. I think it's this one here, and this one here we all have tattooed on us. Let's see if we can show them real quick. And this is the one that fits right there. And then all the other two, they're hiding back here. Right there and there. And the rest, like those are petroglyphs. Real petroglyphs from different areas around the United States. Like this one here is one of my, they're all my favorite, but that's Algonquin from Michigan. So, brother, and a crane, and a canoe. So I got the little blue water waves there. So of course, I had to have some of my favorite sequoias added to my tattoos. Well, I don't want to make this too long. I don't even know what we're at for minutes, but I hope you enjoyed it. And as I enjoy these little bitty guys so much, as to how, I mean, this one has, most of them have flaking that go all the way around them. It's like, how in the world did they do that? They were so skilled at what they did. And then, which they were all made from some kind of flake, whether it was big or little. But like this one here, has a lot of flaking on that side, killer serrations. And this side, basically uniface. Thank you, Sequoyah, for the great legacy you left. Thank you for giving our people what they needed. And that, as Ben would say, honoring the Indian trace. I like old Ben. I like everybody, but it's more about just honoring the little stone arrowheads we find. It's always about honoring those who came before us. And I don't use the words the great North American Indian like Ben does a lot, because I like to be me, and I have North American native in myself. I'm only about a third, but in my heart and soul I'm 100%, which I do have some of that Scot in me, that Irish Scot, Brooks and Kelly, but video isn't about me, it's about Sequoyah. Translucent. About the great Sequoyah bird point, named after the great Native American Cherokee, Sequoyah. Thank you all for coming along. Have a good holiday.